Good evening and welcome to Mayor Richard D. O'Brien's annual State of the City. My name is Marisela Garcia and I'm the city manager for this great little city of Riverbank. To begin, I'd like to invite Council Member for District 1, Luis Uribe, to lead us in the flag salute.
Okay, that everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic of one nation, under God, indivisible.
And if you can remain standing for the invocation by Reverend Randy.
Let us pray. Father God, we just are so amazed and so grateful that we could gather in this place this evening and celebrate our city, Riverbank. You said in your word, for God so loved, and we know that love is an action word, and Riverbank is a city of action. So I believe Riverbank is a city of love. And I know that God, together we are stronger. I just pray, Father, as we look and celebrate all that you've helped us do, and Lord, that we are excited at the same time for all that you're going to help us do together as we continue to make Riverbank this great city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for joining us, and I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome some of our federal and local officials who have joined us tonight. We have Chief of Staff for Senator Marie Alvarado Gil, Chad Condon, who is with us. Stanislaus County District 1 Supervisor, Buck Condon. We're pleased to have several of our Stanislaus County city mayors in representation tonight as well. Mayor Sue Zwallen with the city of Modesto. Mayor Amy Bublak with the city of Turlock. And Mayor Javier Lopez with the city of Sirius. I'd also like to welcome our city council members, District 1, Luis Uribe. Yeah. District 3, Leanne Jones-Cruz. District 4, Darlene Barber Martinez. And our 2023 Vice Mayor, Rachel Hernandez. In addition, we have members from the Riverbank Unified School District who are here with us tonight, including Superintendent Christine Pasala. And I'd like to introduce Rose Parks, who's the Executive Director for Stanford. And of course, our Cal Cities Regional Public Affairs Manager for the Central Valley, Stephen Fall. In Mayor O'Brien's address tonight, you're going to hear all about the city's accomplishments over the past year. And you'll get a sneak peek into what the city's vision is for the future. These accomplishments are the fruits of the labor of all of our city council members who were able to collaborate in establishing the city's strategic goals, so that all of the city of Riverbank staff have a common vision to strive for throughout the year. I'd like to thank all of the department directors and managers and their staff for leading them towards reaching all of these goals. And now I'd like to introduce Mayor O'Brien.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Senator Alvarado Gil's staff for being here tonight, as well as other locally elected leaders. Mayor Bublak from Turlock, Zwallen from Modesto, and Lopez from Ceres, and a special thanks to our supervisor, Buck Condon. Every year, it is important to me to thank the many who make such a difference in our city for their continued willingness to offer their time and support for our city. Thanks to the many residents from the authority members, planning commissioners, fire board directors, advisory committees, and representatives to the various groups and organizations that help develop policies, and they, in turn, protect Riverbank's interests. Each year, I am amazed at your dedication and results. While every organization believes their staff is the best, ours is moving many more projects than any other community, providing greater services and continue to look for innovative ways to move Riverbank forward with vigor. Thank you to the City Council for your dedication. Your collective efforts these past years are making for a great 2023 and beyond. These council members have great civic pride. They encourage others to follow in their footsteps to continue great works by the future generation. I wish to give a special thanks to my wife, Christy, for her perseverance, support, and providing encouragement while being a sounding board for me over these last 50 years as we traveled the world. Thank you. I love you more. It's always a great honor and a pleasure to present the Riverbank State of the City. As I lay out our achievements and goals, you will see the many examples throughout the city. Due to the broad scope and scale of the services we provide, it's nearly impossible to detail and quantify each achievement or piece of work we have produced. My hope is that I can present our total body of work as synergistic pieces to a puzzle that all fits together for this community. Our council and staff have chosen to focus on a value of the work we get to do to serve this community, which in the end is the true essence of public service. Last year, Riverbank became 100 years since incorporation. Many of you participated in centennial celebrations. A gala kicked off the year with a Roaring 20s theme, 1920s. Our Founders Day Carnival was an extremely big hit with all the families and children. We are continuing it this year and will continue as an annual event. A hot air balloon event, a mural that depicted the last 100 years presented at the Plaza del Rio in downtown. And we capped up our centennial celebration with a blinding laser show in the evening. Our Parks and Recreation Department continuously provides exciting activities for residents. New contract instructors provided recreational programs such as guitar lessons, Tai Chi, yoga, pound fitness, Zumba, ballet folklorico. Several camps were offered to over 180 campers in June and July. These camps had waiting lists that far exceeded interest than in previous years. Our Teens Center continues to thrive. Our aquatics program continues to be the highlight of our city's summer program. Over 700 children were enrolled in swimming lessons, including children from the autistic spectrum. Our mermaid program and Barracuda swim team had another successful season. Jacob Myers Park is utilized by many outside of our area, and we are expanding to accommodate anticipated increases. The Army Corps of Engineers is leasing Riverbank an additional 92 adjacent acres to the west of Jacob Myers Park. We're providing safe tree cuts and will extend walking and cycling paths. We added a new park, first one in many years, at Countryside. We have new pickleball courts. We renovated many of our walking paths, outdoor basketball courts. Sue Fitzpatrick and her staff continuously looks for events that are well received. Dia de los Muertos, which has expanded several times, is now going to rival as one of our best attended events. Our updated park master plan is providing direction with our growth and a directive to be inclusive for our residents of all abilities. As we look out to the next 100 years, Riverbank will grow, and in that growth will be necessary to build housing that will support those currently without homes, in need of housing, and the future needs. There are some who believe that Riverbank should not grow, or others can manage the land surrounding Riverbank better. Some who live just outside the city boundaries believe that there is no housing crisis, or we should not use ag land for housing. Riverbank will grow and provide sustainable services, help those in need, follow the ag land protection policy, and protect our environment. We will view with caution those with not in my backyard syndromes. California needs abundant housing to become affordable, and that can only happen if private developers build significant projects. The fundamental flaw of SB 9 is that it allows individual homeowners to add 1 or 2 additional dwelling units to their properties. That will not decrease housing costs. That is no way to build enough housing that will increase affordability. Whether we politicians like it or not, housing production is indeed governed by the laws of supply and demand. Without adequate supply, demand will increase the cost on the current inventory. Californians are leaving the state in large numbers. Approximately 500,000 have left in the last 2 years. Varying reasons: high cost of housing, an energy policy that is placing gas and electricity at much higher than the national averages, political policies that embolden criminal behavior, higher taxes, long commutes. These are just a few of the reasons given. As we grow, we must balance total needs. We will plan all consideration for any exodus versus long-term needs. But still, California has over 3.5 million housing units shortfall, and the Department of Housing and Community Development have provided our city of Riverbank's fair share of housing that needs to be built to help close the gap. Regional housing needs assessment of 3,600 above our current planned development. Riverbank was fortunate enough to receive a variety of funding sources that had not been previously available to small cities. The City Council's first effort was to initiate a long-term goal of providing services to our homeless population. Our American Rescue Plan Act funds allowed us to purchase Sierra House. It has taken a while to determine what actually is needed to correct issues in Sierra House, but is well on its way to provide homeless shelter and a day-use facility, complete with shower, washer and dryers, and it will be available soon. Through the efforts of the city manager, we were awarded emergency solution grant that allowed us the opportunity to begin a partnership with Cambridge Academy and provide outreach services to our homeless population. Sierra House is where Cambridge Academy will continue our Restart program that provides necessary life skills, job training, and other wraparound services for the homeless residents. Cambridge Academy provides a love for our homeless, a tough love that will not tolerate substance abuse without consequences. Going through our program will require commitment on the city's part and on those in the program. Those completing this program will have the opportunity for follow-on housing and employment. We purchased property located at Jackson and Stanislaus Street, which will become our first transitional housing site in the form of a tiny home village, and construction will begin shortly. This village will be managed by a third party. There's a commitment that needs to be accepted by all communities. Drug dealers need to be removed from the streets. Property crimes must be curtailed. Addiction and mental illness needs to be addressed, even to the point of detainment for violations so treatment can be offered. If not, we'll be continuing to address homelessness indefinitely. Riverwalk is a project of approximately 993 acres adjacent to the Stanislaus River, and 80% or 1,800 homes of the development will be designated active senior living. If the project moves forward, it will provide housing to many already retired with minimal demands on municipal services. We have many other projects that we are working on and will provide multifamily housing. Examples are northwest corner of Clarabelle and Roselle, 390 units of townhomes in the commercial area of Crossroads West. When these projects are completed, there'll be very limited land left within the city to develop for housing. In 2012 and again in 2016, I chaired the Sustainable Community Strategy for StanCon. Each time, it was 2 years in length and very tedious. I am a believer in sustainable communities, and for every house we build, we must offer a new job, creating a balanced job-housing ratio. This will minimize travel commuting elsewhere. Creating healthy, sustainable, and equitable communities is a priority for Riverbank. Environmental justice plays a key role in the integrated effort that simultaneously addresses housing, environment, transportation, and health issues. It is paramount that Riverbank continues its vitality and to thrive while providing sustainability for the residents and the city. We fully support the entrepreneurial spirit that many of our residents risk daily in building their businesses. But having an entrepreneurial mindset is about more than having business ideas or launching a new product. These business leaders are taking a risk and betting on themselves to get through it. Whether it is downtown boutique, restaurants, or providing services, these are the true backbone of our fabric of the business community. We are committed to supporting new, innovative residents from their concept to success, but our business incubator at the LRA is underutilized. To help the local startups, we will be protective against absentee landlord building neglect and apathy in compliance to code and adherence. We will ensure that these landlords comply to codes, or they must abandon their hold on our downtown development. We need to do a better job in supporting individuals from startup through success. Energy efficiency has always been a long-term goal of the City Council. The pandemic proved that the supply chain issues can cause significant delays in important projects, including electrical. In February 2022, the City Council approved the facility solution agreement with SiteLogic, which includes the installation of microgrids at the police station, the community center, Horton Park, and the wastewater treatment plant. Since 2016, the City Council and staff have been evaluating the possibility of a regional recycled water project at the wastewater treatment plant. The staff prepared design plans for a proposed facility, which would include upgrading our existing plant to a tertiary treatment and incorporating a recycled water component that would benefit local agricultural water users and help to recharge the aquifer. The city staff, with Mr. Neil Colwell, worked diligently to prepare the documents necessary to apply for a variety of grants, including the submittal of a $50 million grant to build a resilient infrastructure. We have applied for additional grants that could lower the overall expense to the ratepayers. The preparation of the sewer rate study and other studies were performed and adopted by the City Council in an effort to move this project forward. There are many that oppose any upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant because they believe the cost is out of our reach, or that their wastewater bill will be tremendously high, or these improvements are for additional development and only development should pay, or that these upgrades are not necessary. The wastewater treatment plant needs to be updated, and the Water Board is looking closely at systems like ours. This system was designed in the 1920s, constructed in the 1970s, and upgraded over 30 years ago. The state has been toying with additional charges to be used of water by placing an assessment on each gallon consumed by determining water usage through the size of the delivery pipe. If we can prove that we are putting more water back into the aquifer than we remove, it might limit our obligations to the state and possibly we receive a rebate. While I jest on the rebate, our objective is to preserve water resources and reuse water as many times as possible. Had the city council adopted the rate studies presented in 2008, monies could have been collected from development that was built after the 2008 rejection. Most of the funds could have built a new water treatment system with minimal increases in operating expenses. Since 2008, costs have skyrocketed. Even from the beginning of 2016, building costs have almost doubled. In 2016, we were looking at a $68 million plant. Now it is $127 million. While initially this project appears daunting, we will continue to seek funding that will not overburden the ratepayers, and we will continue looking for funding from sources to provide water to nearby agriculture. We will continue to recharge the aquifer, putting more water back into the aquifer storage than we remove. Providing water to local farms will reduce their need to pump the aquifer, thus preserving our water reserves. Development will be paying directly into the wastewater plant construction. Our housing development continues on the east side, and Crossroads West is moving along. On the east side, we have some major issues with PG&E. We have a total of 50 homes built, sold, and ready for occupancy. But after 7 months delay, there was no electrical power available. PG&E knew of these homes being constructed many years ago and had no issues to provide power. Last week, we addressed this issue directly with the PG&E leadership, and within 6 days, the electrical power was provided, and residents can now move in. We have other issues with PG&E, and they too have been addressed directly to their leadership. While the city continues growing, so will our staff, providing the best in our services. We had several employees promoted from within, including a public works superintendent, our city clerk, administrative assistant, construction inspector, water supervisors, and senior levels in other areas. We welcome a new public works director, Mr. Cody Bridgewater, from Oakdale after retiring of Michael Rydell. Prior to the pandemic, staff was working over each other. City Hall had no extra space. Security had been a concern for some years. As Riverbank grows, the need to update City Hall facilities will be considered that will provide a safe and secure area to conduct business and the ability for staff to work without being encumbered. As part of every 10-year census, we reviewed the city council district boundaries. Based on the 2020 census, the final map was approved and submitted to Stanislaus County Registrar that was used for the Riverbank City Council elections. In November, the general municipal election was held, and we say goodbye to retiring council member Cal Campbell and say hello again to council member Leanne Jones-Cruz. Councilmember Luis Uribe was also reelected for an additional 4-year term. Our general plan is germane. However, we are conducting a general plan technical review that will reflect the current and future changes around us. With the general plan update, we will address the environmental and social justice issues and identify possible paths to solutions, especially with the shift of the 108. While the landscape is changing, it's best to control some of the conditional opportunities. We will address the differences between environmental and social justice, and we will ensure all enjoy the equal rights that come with both, whether our ethnic or financial background. Those doing business with Riverbank will conduct themselves in fairness while maintaining the dignity for all and adhering to our core values. It is extremely important to keep our city sustainable without additional taxation. While other communities have implemented additional sales tax, meals tax, or other fees to pay for services, we must continue to find additional funding sources and avoid additional taxes. We have secured a property tax sharing agreement with the county, which became effective last July, and will increase our tax revenue without increasing your taxes. The Army base currently has zero tax value. When it conveys from the U.S. Army to local control, property taxes will be assessed. With a zero baseline county tax, our share will be much greater. The continued development at the industrial complex will generate additional property taxes. Retail at the Crossroads West Commercial Center will bring revenue that will double our current sales tax revenues and generate additional property taxes while adding over 2,200 jobs. In the Crossroads West commercial section, a company submitted plans for a 161,000 square foot building with parking, landscaping, and fuels island. Now, I'm not supposed to know what the business is because they haven't announced it, but Costco is hiring for Riverbank Costco now. Visit www.costco.com. Whatever this business is, this will be an anchor tenant that will attract other high-quality retail development. We fully understand the face of retail is changing, and Darrell Broman has taken all precautions to protect our investment. Donna Kinney has been overburdened in all the growth planning, and her performance is exceptional. As our general fund reserves continue to be very healthy, we look for ways to protect our investment. Last year, we placed significant amount of reserves into a retirement account that is earning interest above the normal government investment rates and will only be used for retirement programs. This year, indications are that we will again place significant additional reserves into that investment account. We will have our unfunded liabilities owed to CalPERS, and this retirement reserve will protect the city in the event there is further slippage in CalPERS investments. Unfunded liability payments will peak in 2026, which is right around the corner. Development services led by Kathleen Cleek have completed 8 major roadway projects, with an additional 6 currently being developed. 15 others are out to bid. Measure L tax dollars are hard at work, and our roads are dramatically improved. I thank our residents for their patience during the interruptions in traffic flow. The Local Redevelopment Authority, or the old Army base, is currently bringing in industries that will provide up to 3,500 direct jobs with an additional 3,000 indirect jobs when fully built out. The economic impact is tremendous. Circulus alone has an impact for 206 personnel at $12.3 million in labor, with a total of $20.9 million added value. A total value of $113.7 million annual economic impact to our region as identified by Opportunity Stanislaus, not by Richard O'Brien. This is just one of the many corporations committed to the LRA. The carbon recapture program at the LRA is underway. Riverbank Organics will be taking the organic material that we're eliminating from the landfill and converting it into feed and fertilizer for Foster Farms. Circulus is up and running, recycling plastic for Coca-Cola, their single-use containers, and providing high-paying jobs to our residents. Ametis, who is our master developer, will soon be constructing their $750 million plant and converting agricultural waste into aviation fuel. They have secured almost $10 billion in contracts with airlines. The goal is to have the aviation fuel sustainable in the United States by the year 2050. Ametis is leading the way. Additionally, Ametis will be supplying 40% of our local diesel fuel needs with clean, renewable biodiesel. Eventually, land to the east of the old Army plant will be absorbed in the industrial complex for a complete build-out that will take approximately 30 years. The industrial complex will be significant regional value for many generations. The Army's complicated contamination of groundwater outside the Riverbank Ammo Army Base boundaries continue challenging the rules for transfer by the US EPA and by California Department of Toxic Substance Control. While agreements are being concluded, the conveyance may be determined by adjudication between common sense and impractical expectations. I've spoken directly to the Department of Toxic Substance Control, Cal EPA, and the US EPA, and they are very supportive of our projects at the Riverbank Army Base. They would like the transfer to occur as soon as practical and support our initiatives. With a little push, we could finalize a schedule and meet a reasonable timeline. I intend to meet personally with the leadership at the US EPA and the Department of Toxic Substance Control to ensure that policy decisions are made at the executive level and not by the staff interpretations. The North County Corridor received federal funds as well as state funds, Measure L, SB 1 funding, and construction at Phase 1 will begin this year. It will provide an overpass for Clarabelle and the North County corridors at the BNSF tracks, which will lessen the impacts on Terminal Avenue. Many of our students are now walking along Roselle in pastures and orchards to get to school. Phase 1 of the North County corridor will include a pedestrian and biking lane from Clarabelle south on Roselle to approximately 1/3 the way down to Enoch's High School. We're looking for funding to complete this project and extend that segment of bike and pedestrian to Enoch's High School. This will become a safe route to school. It is unfortunate that this unsafe condition has lasted for so long and will take longer to correct. The executive director of Caltrans, Mr. Tony Alvarez, visited the portion of the North County corridor and the industrial complex. He sees the need for funding. I asked for the $92 million, which was originally for the Oakdale bypass that was transferred to the North County corridor and was used elsewhere. While I don't believe will be provided the funding, he should be agreeable to future requests. He also understands that one size solution does not work for all areas, and Stanislaus County projects are different than the Southern California or the coastal communities. The North County corridor will provide a clear delineation between Riverbank and Modesto, and providing Riverbank additional economic and employment opportunities while producing additional tax revenue. Once the North County corridor is completed, it will provide bike lanes adjacent to the traffic lane that will connect current bike systems and continue just east of Oakdale. This corridor is important for the industrial complex. Many of the companies will be using surface transportation or the rail system to ship and receive goods and services. Improvement in Sierra at Faith Home Road and a planned bridge overpassing the Tuolumne River will provide a north-south corridor along Claus Avenue to California 99, relieving truck traffic in Modesto and Ceres, and provide additional savings in vehicle miles traveled. While we think locally at this state of the city, regional infrastructures and investments promote a stronger Stanislaus that in turn makes us stronger communities. There are many that still are requesting to defund the police, believing that police are subsidizing racism. Some further believe that police do not promote community safety. Instead, we should be concentrating on improving housing, educational opportunities, and in community involvement in intervention programs and access to holistic health. While we are pursuing some of those goals, it is important that changing Riverbank police structure without a clear transition will leave a void that can lead to further mistrust. Project Resolve is a program led by Sheriff Dursky, is changing perceptions and attitude in communities and in policing. It is significant effort in gathering data and action by providing guidance to the community and to the police. Riverbank Unified School District has requested a school resource officer, and a cost-sharing agreement between the city and the school have been finalized. The officer is identified and training will be provided. The position will commence in the new fiscal year for this school. Chief Ridenour and his police services have participated in many community events, hosting barbecues, meet and greet at local businesses, and casual conversations in the park. Our community service officer has proved to be invaluable, together with the school resource officer and additional community service officers will expand the police outreach to the public and instill open dialogues, which beforehand there was mistrust and reticence. The Riverbank Police Services understand they cannot be effective without the community's help and partnership. As we move forward, we will continue to be vigilant and defend our rights as a community from the state place an undue burden that does not provide a clear benefit to this community. We will continue to support regional projects that enhance our community as a whole. We will continue to provide the best in our parks and activities for our youth to enjoy so they can grow in a safe environment. We will seek funding to improve existing facilities. We will identify new sources of revenue to complete the staffing of our city departments and provide a safe working environment. We will continue quality development and forming partnerships with businesses locating at the industrial complex. We will continue our police outreach and collaboration with the community to provide a safe and accessible policing strategy. There is a vision for our future as we continue to move forward. We continue to make great strides in retail, housing, cooperation with other government agencies, and much richer in community events. The state of our city is strong because of our collective desires to make it better and the commitment to work towards that end. The fact that many of you are here listening to me again is a testament to the city's strength. To keep the city strong, this council will continue to look forward to the future and evaluate what we must do today. Riverbank will continue to be strong because of you and those protecting our city interests. All of us who work together so Riverbank will succeed. Thank you.
Now, contrary to advice from legal and the city manager, are there any questions? Yes, sir. In the future, we should be entertaining. Oh, the question was, will we be involved with the Riverwalk in any way? We will if it comes forward to the council. That does not necessarily mean it's coming forward, when it will, and in what form. But if it does come forward, we will be working on it. One question, who else has a question? All right, so if you have further questions, I'm available on March 21st from the hours of 3 p.m. to 4:30. Make an appointment, come see me, and we can discuss any of the items that you have and what we're doing in this city. Okay, again, I want to thank you all for being here. Drive safely, stay dry. Oh, and there's refreshments back